Good morning, you guys. It's May. It's more specifically, it's the first Tuesday of May, and that means it is workshop day. I do these monthly workshops. Really, they're just heart-to-heart chats to give you some insight into how I am planning for the month and walk you through some life hacks and some systems that have ended up working for me and my family. So it is, these are intended to be a time for us to dive into whatever may be stressing us out, whatever we're having to deal with as both mamas and working professionals, people with kids, people without kids, all of the above. Now, we picked these topics at the beginning of this year, so this is kind of interesting. This month's topic was supposed to be about summer planning. And if you're like us, that has just completely and totally gone out the window. But nevertheless, planning is still really important. And even though our family is having to adjust our summer plans, I thought it would be important for me to share with you a little bit about what we are planning to do as our summer plans adjust. My husband and I are still going to have to work, but it seems like summer camps and childcare may no longer be options. And so we're having to get creative. My husband and I are going to start by sitting down. I just went downstairs and said to him, we need to plan a time to sit down and talk about our summer and what that's going to look like. So if you're making notes on things you should do, that is the first thing I would recommend, is just carving out some time to create a schedule and then share it with your family so that everybody knows what's going on and what to expect. So it could be a hard summer. I think planning will make that alleviate a little bit of that, make that a little bit easier. And so I've got a few topics to talk about: traveling, if you can, if you will, staying home, dealing with the disappointment that you feel and your kids feel about, oops, just bumped the table, about this whole crazy summer thing. So let's first talk about our plan for staying at home. The most important thing to focus on here is schedule and routine. My kids' school really hit the ground running with the at-home schooling thing. And one thing that they have put into place that our family has really adapted to and loved is at 9 a.m., they do a Zoom call for all the students. And so my kids know that they can get up, they can make breakfast, they can work on their schoolwork, they can read, they can play games. But at 9 a.m., that it's almost a ceremony type thing. Like the Olympics have an opening ceremony. It's an opening ceremony, and it tells my kids and my family that our day has started. So the first thing that we personally are going to do is try to figure out how to keep that 9 a.m. time slot as sort of like a ceremony marker. What is going to be the start to our summer day? It could be that we have a family reading, a devotion, read some scripture. Maybe we do a meditation or a family yoga session, or we go for a walk. It could be anything, but something that is very routine. It's going to be something that we do as a family together every day, and it's going to kick off our summer days. Another thing that I think is important to fit into our schedule, this is going to sound really funny, is unscheduled moments. We as a family love our downtime. We love our naps. We love being spontaneous and doing things at the drop of a hat. And so I can't build a completely packed out schedule. That would completely and totally backfire on our family. But I do know that I can build in plenty of downtime for myself and my husband, and that this will help us navigate the summer better. So another thing that I know we're going to have to do, and it just needs to be part of the day's routine, is build in time for chores. And one of my plans for this summer for my kids is to talk about doing our chores the day before. So ordinarily, I would say chores are part of a day. You get up and you use the chore as part of your routine in the day. And we like to teach our kids that you work before you play. Very important. However, my kids are going to get up during the summer and they are going to want to play, and it's going to be very hard for me to get them to do their chores. So I'm going to sort of restructure the verbiage on that so that we're encouraging them to do their chores the day before. It's probably going to be harder to get their chores done in the evening, but if they know that they cannot go and play with friends or whatever the next day unless their chores are done, it's going to motivate them to get that stuff done the day before. So the day before is the concept of the day before is something that I've only recently been focusing on. A friend of mine said to me that one of the questions she asks herself about planning for her day is, what can I do today to make tomorrow easier, better, smoother? And so just focusing on pre-planning and getting stuff done the day before has been a big focus for me personally in my work routine and schedule. And so I'm planning on using that technique with my kids for the summer. Okay, now the odds are that a lot of us are not traveling. My kids have some neighborhood friends that they will be playing with. We know that that's going to happen most likely, but the odds that any of us are going to go anywhere is probably going to be pretty slim. If we do travel and if we can travel, it's most likely, I'm guessing, going to be by car. I don't know about you, but I'm not really excited about getting my family on an airplane, and we are a traveling family. We love going, we love doing, my kids love staying in hotels. But just the odds that we're going to go anywhere by plane are pretty slim this summer. In fact, everything that we had planned is completely canceled at this point. So we're going to need to get an emergency kit for the car. I actually have a container that I picked up at the Container Store several years ago, and it's sort of just a little emergency kit with Band-Aids, antibacterial ointment, pain reliever, allergy medicine, things like that. So we're gonna keep that in the car over the course of the summer. Go through what's in there, make sure it's fresh, and just make sure that if we are in the car and for any strange reason we get stranded someplace, we at least have some basic medical supplies that we need, that we probably use on a daily basis. My kids are constantly being like, Mom, I scratched myself, I need a Band-Aid, or I have a headache, or whatever. So just wanting to keep some of those basics. We need to ask ourselves what's going to keep us safe and clean. Chances are we will not be in crowded situations, but hand sanitizer or wipes or something is going to continue to be necessary. That's just a way of life now. And asking ourselves right now, like, what do we need to do to stay safe and clean is going to be important. More than anything, I want to teach my kids this summer that the situation that we're in as a culture and a world and a society, this is an opportunity to get resourceful and be creative. And that's one of the beautiful things about constraints. Whenever we have constraints placed on us, as humans, we find really ingenious, creative ways to do other things. And so I'm going to really use that verbiage to challenge my kids to think outside the box this summer. And after my husband and I have had a conversation about our summer plans, we will bring our kids into that conversation and talk about this with them, get their ideas, and really try to communicate with them so we're getting their buy-in on the schedule as well. Another thing that is on my list to do with my husband, and I would encourage you guys to do, is to use this time to take a minute and dream. The end picture, the vision of what you want this summer to be is going to be very important. And yes, it can't look like maybe we wanted it to look like 6 months ago when we were dreaming about summer vacations and things like that. But we can adjust our dreams and our visions, and by maintaining an end picture, an end result, or you could even say setting goals for what you want this summer to be, keeping that front of mind is going to keep us going if things change, if things get shut down again, if things are still shut down where you are, all of that. So just at the end of this summer, in August, when the kids are hopefully, fingers crossed, going back to school, what do we want this summer experience to have been for them and for us, for ourselves as individuals. And so keeping that in mind, just kind of setting an intention or setting a goal or setting an outcome of what you want this summer to look like, getting that in place is going to help drive you through any obstacles that come up over the course of the summer. And all that being said, on any type of planning, especially right now, we need to be prepared to cancel or readjust and reschedule. Definitely, I would advise if you plan any type of travel to get travel insurance and make sure it is the kind that you can cancel for any reason. We'll pay a little bit more for that, but in the long run, it will be completely worth it. And just remember to stay flexible. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you about is disappointment, because as individuals, we're dealing with disappointment. I've had to face disappointments in this situation, and my kids are facing huge disappointments right now. And one of the ways that we can help our kids learn and grow and just prepare for life, and then also to grow ourselves as individuals, is to realize that disappointments are going to happen. And we don't want to live like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, but anticipating those disappointments can be really important for helping us deal with them when they arise. Brene Brown actually said she interviewed a man named David Kessler on a recent podcast. He's a grief expert. And he said that this may be what our kids may be dealing with right now. This generation of kids may be the first time that they have ever experienced and dealt with grief. It might not be grief in the sense of a loved one dying, but it is going to be grief in the sense of disappointment and hopes and dreams that they had and things that they were looking forward to may not be fulfilled. So our kids have already faced a lot of disappointment about not seeing friends, not being able to go to school, and now facing a potential change in summer plans. One thing that we are really looking forward to as a family is our neighborhood pool opening. And while I do believe that that's still on track to happen, we realize that it may get shut down and that may be taken away. And so preparing our kids to deal with that in advance might be a significant thing that we can do and contribute to their lives and their little brains and their ability to process things. My kids are definitely already sad about some trips that we've had canceled. So after my husband and I sit down and we do our planning session, we're going to do a quarantine bucket list with our kids. I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to ask my friends on Facebook, what are some of the things that we can do in and around Oklahoma City, where we live, that don't involve large crowds, but that I can give my kids as a means of just hope. Like, we can still go and do things. We're just going to have to get creative and resourceful about the things that we go and do. Another thing that we have been teaching our kids lately is learning to be still and present, and to realize that in the moments when we want to go and do and we're disappointed and we want to be frustrated, that we can stop and just be still. And I've taught them that the best way to be still is to be quiet and to try to feel your toes. It's kind of funny, but you can't feel your toes without being really still. So we're going to work on that this summer as well. We're also going to do a book challenge as a family, working on what that's going to look like, but I'm happy to share it with you guys. So anyway, a few takeaways for today. Focus your energy on what you can plan on. Definitely try to stay mentally and emotionally healthy. Realize that disappointments happen, but then adjust your mindset to embrace where we are, see the good, find the beauty in where we are. As a company, we have taken the printables that we designed last year for summer with kids, and we've updated them as a great resource for staying at home with kids. You can grab it in the shop at whitneyenglish.com. I would love to see you back here next month for next month's Heart to Heart chat. And in the meantime, hop on the email list. We have a launch coming up. This is a big one for us. The mid-year planner, the academic year planner, is getting ready to launch next month, and email subscribers are going to get early access. See you guys.